Okay, so if you've ever found yourself wearing, I don't know, 20 different hats,
Yeah.
CEO, social media manager, accountant, maybe even chief coffee maker, well, then you definitely get the beautiful, terrifying chaos of solopreneurship. Today, we're aiming to take some of the guesswork out of all that chaos. We're doing a deep dive into something called the Solopreneur's $1,000,000 Blueprint. It's this 9-module curriculum, basically a roadmap for turning that one-person show into a serious revenue-generating business. And this isn't just theory. It's built on like 15 years of expertise in data from SOLO.marketing, going all the way back to 2010. So our mission today, give you the shortcut, the proven logical path that the source guarantees has driven 50% revenue increases for people who really stick to it.
And that need for a logical path, it's so critical because solopreneurship, as I've said, it's inherently fragmented. You are the visionary and the executor, right? And the data really backs this up. It shows why most people get stuck. Around 70% of solopreneurs struggle, really struggle with focus.
70%. Wow.
Yeah, it's huge. They're wasting precious time, precious energy on strategies that maybe look busy, but honestly, they just don't scale. So this blueprint, it exists to give structure where there's usually just, well, ambition and maybe a bit of panic. The structure itself, it really rests on three core guiding principles you kind of have to internalize. First is logical precision.
Okay.
This means every single step is backed by measurable data, proven case studies, getting rid of those intuition-based mistakes. Second is emotional resonance. This is pretty unique to this blueprint, actually. It makes sure the system isn't just about chasing money, but it actually fuels your deeper drive, your why, maybe creating a lasting legacy. And finally, immediate actionability. So actual concrete worksheets, timelines, stuff you need so you can start seeing results. Like today, not waiting for next quarter.
Okay, great. Let's unpack this then. Let's start with those crucial foundations. It's modules 1 and 2. Module 1 is called Assess Your Starting Point, and yeah, the source is pretty blunt here. Skip this, and you're likely hitting the same pitfalls that stall, 80% of solo ventures.
Exactly, 80%. And the main tool here is the SWOT analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats.
Right, standard stuff maybe.
Well, it sounds like basic corporate strategy, sure, but for the solo founder, it's like a necessary discipline. 90% of successful entrepreneurs rely on logical frameworks like this one. And if you skip it, the blueprint suggests you could waste up to 80% more time chasing things that just aren't aligned with what you can actually do.
And here's where it gets really interesting, I thought, looking at the numbers. They highlight this psychological gap. Solopreneurs, it says, routinely undervalue their own internal strengths by like a massive 50%.
Oh, totally. We're so critical of our own unique skills, aren't we?
Yeah.
We see our strengths as just, oh, that's just what I do, instead of a real marketable asset. Think about that freelance writer example in the blueprint.
Right, the storyteller.
Yeah, she kind of dismissed her natural talent for powerful storytelling till she realized, wait, that is her unique strength. She leveraged that specific skill, pivoted into a niche course, and boom, $120,000 in revenue in year 1.
Wow.
It wasn't just the writing itself that sold. It was the way she taught her unique storytelling method.
Okay, so that's strengths.
Yeah.
But conversely, we got to look at weaknesses. And the blueprint makes it pretty clear. Financial tracking is like the universal pain point.
Absolutely. Weaknesses like poor financial tracking, you just have to tackle them early.
Right.
The source had this great example, a solopreneur who saved $10,000 in overlooked expenses.
10,000
Yeah.
just from tracking.
Yeah, pure profit. Just by dedicating like 2 hours to setting up and actually using a basic expense spreadsheet. That kind of clarity in Module 1, it sets you up perfectly for the next critical step. Module 2.
Right, so knowing what you're good at, what you're not, that feeds straight into defining what you actually sell. Module 2, define your niche and unique value proposition, or UVP. And you're saying this is absolutely not optional.
It's probably the highest leverage thing you can do, honestly. Solopreneurs who really nail their niche, they grow twice as fast as generalists. Twice. And they increase conversions by up to 40%. The problem is, if you don't have a clear niche, you're basically shouting into this massive void, right?
Yeah.
You end up competing with everyone, but you don't really resonate deeply with anyone.
And that struggle seems real. The blueprint says 65% of solopreneurs just fail to nail down a specific audience. That's a huge number, wasting time and money on generic messages.
It is. And the solution they propose is the UVP. It's just a concise statement answering that single most important question. Why should someone choose you? The blueprint offers this really handy formula. I help specific audience achieve specific benefit through my unique method.
That last part seems key, the unique method.
Totally key. Most solo founders kind of skip that unique method part, or they just use jargon, expert coaching or something generic. The real power is in the specificity. How do you do it differently?
We saw this with that example, Jordan, the
Yeah.
content creator.
Mm.
She was trying to be the digital marketing person for literally everyone.
Right, too broad.
Yeah. But by refining her focus, her niche, specifically targeting solo podcasters seeking organic growth, and then crafting a really tight UVP around that, well, the results were immediate. Tripled her subscriber base to 15,000 in just 3 months.
Because she was speaking directly to their specialized problem. That specific clarity, that kind of emotional resonance you get from niching down, that's your launch pad. It really is the difference between being background noise and being the exact solution your ideal client is looking for right now.
Perfect. Okay, that leads us right into section 2, building the actual revenue engine. Starts with module 3, build your core offer. This is where you turn that expertise into something people actually pay good money for.
Yeah, this is where you see that big jump towards the 50% revenue increase goal.
Mm.
A really well-refined core offer, it can boost revenue by 60% in the first year alone. And this is big, but the blueprint gives a huge warning here. Validation is absolutely non-negotiable.
Why is validation so tough for solopreneurs, though? We tend to run on instinct, right? Fall in love with our ideas.
Exactly that. We fall in love with our own creation. But the data, it just doesn't lie. Validated offers, ones you've maybe pre-sold or tested with a small group, they have something like a 70% success rate. Compare that to just 20% for ideas launched cold, based purely on guesswork.
Oof, okay.
Big difference. Huge. You absolutely have to check if there's real demand before you spend months building out some complicated product or service. Once it is validated, then the focus shifts to packaging. The blueprint strongly advises tiered pricing, low, mid, high to capture different market segments.
Right.
And packaging isn't just price, it's perceived value. Adding bonuses, like maybe some specific templates or a personalized audit, that can boost sales by 45%. And guarantees, simple things like a 30-day risk-free promise can increase conversions by another 30%. It just makes a yes so much easier for the client.
Okay, offer built, validated, packaged. Now, module 4, mastering marketing fundamentals. This is a lifeblood, right? Getting the word out.
Absolutely. But this is where we need to stop the frantic time-wasting activity and really focus.
Yeah, stop trying to be everywhere.
Exactly. The advice is crystal clear. Stick to 1 or 2 core channels, max. Those who specialize and focus their marketing efforts, they grow leads 50% faster. And this is where the analysis gets really interesting. What stands out most in the blueprint's data is this massive conversion gap between different channels.
Yep.
Industry stats consistently show email converts around 4%. Now compare that to social media, which typically hovers around 0.4%.
Hold on, 4% versus 0.4%. That's 10 times better for email.
10 times exactly.
Why is that gap so enormous? What's the big mistake solopreneurs are making on social?
Well, the blueprint suggests they're often treating social media like a direct sales channel when it's primarily for brand building and awareness. You rarely close a significant sale in an Instagram comment, right?
True.
So the blueprint teaches that the main goal of all your marketing, wherever it happens, should be building that email list. You need a strong lead magnet, something valuable you offer for free in exchange for an email address.
Got it. Move conversation.
Precisely. Move it from that noisy, low-conversion public space to the controlled, high-conversion private space of email. And you should be aiming for like a 20% or higher conversion rate on that lead magnet itself just to prove your core message is resonating.
Okay, so you build that strong list. That feeds directly into Module 5. Optimize sales and conversion, turning those leads into actual paying customers. And the key here you mentioned is psychology again.
Absolutely. Your pitch, your sales page, whatever it has to focus on the benefits. What does the customer actually gain? How does their life improve? Not just listing dry features. That simple shift in framing increases conversions by 50%.
50% just from focusing on benefits.
Yeah. Then the blueprint layers on psychological triggers. Things like scarcity used ethically, of course, like limited enrollment windows or maybe time-limited bonuses that alone can boost sales by 20%. And social proof, testimonials, case studies, success stories, that adds another 15%. You're not just selling a thing, you're selling a proven transformation that others like them have already achieved.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But it raises the question of objections. Every solopreneur faces skepticism, right? Price objections, time objections.
Yeah.
They're inevitable. How does the blueprint suggest handling that friction?
Yeah. Objections are guaranteed. The source is clear. You must have an objection handling script ready, pre-planned answers.
Like role-playing with yourself.
Kind of, yeah. So, for example, if a potential client says your premium service costs too much, your script should immediately help you reframe that cost, turn it into a strategic investment. You might explain, well, yes, the upfront cost is X, but the automation and systems we'll build together actually save clients, on average, $5,000 a year in repetitive tasks, meaning the service pays for itself within 6 months. See? You shift the focus from just expense to a guaranteed return.
Nicely done. Okay, excellent. Let's move into the final section, section 3. This is about scaling resilience and using data. We kick off with module 6, scale with systems and automation. This is where you really start buying back your time and boosting long-term profits.
This is how you finally break through that income ceiling that traps so many solo operators. Solopreneurs spend, an alarming 60% of their time on repetitive tasks, stuff that doesn't actually require their unique genius.
60%. That's most of the week.
It really is. Automation can cut that time sink in half, boosting your overall efficiency by like 40%. And the blueprint gets specific. Delegation, whether that's to virtual assistants, VAs, or increasingly AI tools, can genuinely save you around 15 hours every single week. And businesses that delegate effectively, they tend to grow revenue 30% faster.
Okay, saving 15 hours a week sounds amazing, but doesn't bringing on VAs or setting up complex AI systems add a whole new layer of complexity initially, especially if you're already feeling overwhelmed? How does the blueprint address that setup friction?
That's a really critical question. And the blueprint's advice is smart. Start simple. Implement free or low-cost, maybe even all-in-one solutions first. They specifically mention tools like System.io, which handles funnels, email, courses, all in one place, often with a generous free tier. And Zapier, which is like digital glue, connecting different apps you already use so they talk to each other automatically.
Okay. Don't boil the ocean.
Exactly. Focus on automating just one or two key bottlenecks first. Maybe it's scheduling appointments or that initial lead follow-up email sequence. Automate that before you try to build some massive, complex system overhaul. The idea is to scale your systems gradually, not scale your stress levels.
That makes sense. That intentional step-by-step approach feels much more manageable. Okay, moving on to Module 7, Manage Finances for Growth. You touched on tracking early, but this seems more about the system. Without clarity here, the whole thing can just falter.
Yeah, the risk data here is pretty stark. 80% of solopreneurs lack a consistent financial system. Not just tracking, but a system. This leads to these revenue leaks that average around $10,000 a year.
Wow, 10K is just gone.
Pretty much. Money just left on the table through missed tax deductions, maybe poor cash flow management, or subscription creep. The advice: track expenses weekly, religiously, and aim to keep your operating costs below 30% of your total revenue. That's a key benchmark for healthy scalability.
Great, keep costs down. And what about actually accelerating growth on the financial side?
Diversification. That's key. Solopreneurs who actively diversify their income streams, maybe adding things like lower cost ebooks, affiliate marketing partnerships, perhaps some one-off consulting gigs alongside their main offer, they tend to grow about 30% faster than those relying solely on that single core service or product. And then strategically reinvesting. Putting 20% to 30% of your profits back into high leverage activities, maybe targeted advertising, maybe advanced training for yourself, maybe better tools that consistently leads to an accelerated 50% growth rate, according to the Blueprint's findings.
Okay, reinvestment is crucial. Next up, Module 8, Overcome Common Pitfalls. This feels like the resilience module. And it's vital because the human cost of going alone is high. You mentioned burnout earlier, 70% experience it in the first 2 years.
Yeah, longevity in this game requires protecting yourself. And the simplest action, just adopt a structured schedule, seriously. Lock out dedicated deep work time where you're uninterrupted, mandate actual time off. That alone reduces the risk of burnout by 50%.
Structure equals freedom, in a way.
It really does. And for those inevitable setbacks, a launch flops, a client leaves the blueprint offers this elegant little framework, the 3 Rs. Reflect honestly on what went wrong, reframe it to find the lesson learned, and then restart immediately with one clear, focused action. It stops setbacks from spiraling into total paralysis or failure.
And we definitely need to touch on the legal side, often ignored.
Oh, absolutely. Often ignored until it's too late. 50%, half of solo entrepreneurs face some kind of legal issue eventually, and resolving it can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000.
Yikes.
Yeah. Simple protection goes a long way. The blueprint advises using simple, clear, legally vetted contracts, maybe using services like PandaDoc makes it easy. And seriously considering forming an LLC early on just for that basic liability protection. Separate yourself from the business legally.
Good advice.
Okay.
Okay, finally, we wrap the whole framework with Module 9, track progress and iterate.
Yeah.
Can't steer the ship if you don't know where the current's taking you, right?
And the data here, honestly, it might be the most shocking indictment of the average solo founder's habits. A staggering 75% fail to track their key performance indicators, their KPIs, consistently.
Three-quarters.
Three-quarters. And the result, they're missing opportunities potentially worth between $10,000 and $50,000 every single year just because they aren't watching the right numbers.
That is an enormous opportunity cost just left sitting there.
Oh, it's huge. Conversely, those solopreneurs who do actively track their KPIs, they accelerate their growth by 50%. And the secret isn't some crazy complex dashboard with flashing lights, it's simplicity. The blueprint advises setting just 3 to 5 simple, high-impact KPIs. Things directly linked to your revenue goals. Maybe that's just monthly revenue, number of qualified leads generated, and perhaps website or content engagement rate. That's it.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Regularly reviewing those few numbers improves your decision-making quality by 40%. And if the data shows something isn't working, maybe a marketing channel is underperforming. Pivoting based on that data speeds up your recovery from setbacks by 35%. It's just smart, data-driven course correction.
Wow. Okay, so this whole 9-module framework, it really is about eliminating that feeling of just spinning your wheels, isn't it? It's about precision.
Exactly. And that final data takeaway is pretty compelling. Solopreneurs who adopt structured plans like this one, they don't just feel better, they objectively accelerate their growth by 50% and consistently achieve 70% year-over-year revenue increases.
Takes the guesswork and maybe the emotion out of it, replaces it with a clear process.
Precisely. Takes the emotion out of the hard decisions and puts logical precision in its place.
So, okay, what does all this mean for you listening right now? If you want to jump into that accelerated results group, the suggested action plan from the source is the 90-day plan. Basically, implement one key action, just one tangible thing from each of these 9 modules over the next 3 months. The blueprint suggests this focused approach leads to 40% faster results than trying to do everything at once or jumping around randomly.
Makes sense. Focused action. And for those who want to go even deeper, understand the underlying principles of why these systems work so well, the source recommends a really powerful reading list. The Lean Startup by Eric Ries for really understanding that iterative growth, the validation we talked about. Atomic Habits by James Clear for building those sustainable systems you need in modules 4 and 6. And Deep Work by Cal Newport, which is crucial for protecting your focus and avoiding that huge 70% burnout trap we discussed in Module 8.
Great recommendations. This has been a really comprehensive breakdown, I think, of how a one-person business can actually build towards that 6-figure stability, even hitting $1 million eventually, using a clear blueprint.
Absolutely. So maybe let's leave you with that final provocative thought, the one that really ties the internal journey, the mindset, to the external success. The blueprint actually states, the true reward of working solo isn't money, it's mastery. So, if the data shows that trapping just 3 to 5 simple KPIs is genuinely 80% as effective as struggling with complex dashboards, well, the question for you is, what are the 3 essential metrics you need to start tracking, maybe even today, to finally turn that solo chaos into absolute clarity?